being said, I think there, again, are enough peer voices in the room. You know, you've got a Russell Wilson. You've got a Larry Fitzgerald for the Cardinals. You've got a Dak Prescott for the Cowboys. You've got these strong voices who can hopefully communicate between that and the coaches and other peers on the team of how seriously the matter needs to be taken. But with that being said, there will be measures and steps in place that if a guy is asymptomatic and he's trying to brush off the cough, I mean, the tests, the protocols won't lie. I mean, if he's got it, he's got it, whether he feels sick or not. But as you said, that's where the rigorous testing, the consistent testing is going to be key for the NFL.
Hey, Ray, by my count, there's almost 50 players that have opted out for this season. The Cowboys have 3 of them, and the Patriots are the most with 8 guys that have opted out. How do these teams combat this loss in manpower, in personnel? Is it just a matter of signing guys or, you know, bringing guys off the practice squad? Or how do they combat this and actually get a full roster together?
Well, getting a full roster won't be an issue. I mean, for one, most of these teams, all of these teams really, were prepared to go to training camp, you know, with 90-plus men on the roster. Well, they had already trimmed that down to 80. So that was, you know, out of those 90, you're looking at another 10 to 12 who you would have figured or factored into your practice squad. And let's not forget free agents out there who aren't presently on a roster and who are craving for another NFL paycheck. So filling out a roster won't be an issue, but the quality level is obviously for some teams going to take a hit as a result.
Kevin, with you being the voice of the Dallas Cowboys, and once that starts, your schedule for travel is going to ramp up considerably. Are you concerned about your health and the health of your family as you travel to AT&T Stadium and all these different stadiums around the country? Are you concerned about what could or could not happen to you?
Well, I can tell you from what I know now, well, one, the NBA next season won't start until December at the earliest. You know, we're looking, they kicked around like December 1st. I think it'll probably be somewhere between December 1st and December 10th is when next season will tip off. And from what I've been told with our NFL broadcast, we won't be traveling to other cities. We will be doing our broadcast very similar to what we're doing presently with our Suns broadcast. As of today, we'll be traveling. I'll be going to Dallas every weekend, and we'll be doing a remote broadcast from AT&T Stadium. So, you know, I won't be going to Philadelphia. I won't be going to Seattle or Cincinnati or these other cities that we had on the schedule. So that in itself will minimize it. And because the schedules are going to be completely different this year, the kind of crazy travel I've had the last 3 or 4 years, you know, I won't encounter that at least this year.
We did have one of the NFL players speak out from the Eagles, Marquise Goodwin, over the weekend, and he said NFL is a business, and pretty much, you know, any sport is a business, and that's how they treat it as such. And he said that there would be no amount of money that can make him play. So we have, you know, we're going back to what Ed said, we have all these players now, 44, who have opted out of the season. And we're also having coaches test positive. We're going to, you know, have players test positive. And we have McVay, he's optimistic that the season will play out. And with the contact, you know, as was said, that these players have throughout the game. And is there any risk or at any level that you see that a possibility of the NFL season not playing out due to that high player contact?
Well, I mean, look, I think if any of us have learned anything over the last 4.5 months, it's that anything is possible. And even with the science that we have and that we presently know, even when you put safety measures in place, there is going to be, a positive case or two. I think for the NFL, two things could derail the season. One, that is if there is a massive outbreak within multiple teams. So you're talking 15 to 20 players that hits, let's say, 8 teams, 9 teams. I think at that point, then you would have enough other players, those who aren't even infected, look at it and say, we're out. We're not going to put ourselves in this position here, so we're opting out. And then at that point, the NFL has to look, and I think then you would really see just how big or how much of a business it is to the NFL, because could they foreseeably start opening up invitations to other guys who want to be an NFL player? We've got roster spots available. If the season gets far enough along and the NFL is so concerned about bringing the season to a halt and losing revenue, could that happen? I think anything is possible at this point. I think they will do everything they can in their power to keep as tight a lid on it as possible. But as we sit here on August the 3rd, what things are going to look like September the 3rd or September the 10th or the 13th when the season is theoretically supposed to kick off, who knows? I mean, there could be 6 other states that have huge spikes, and we might be having a different conversation a month from now.
Hey Kevin, what sport do you like calling best? You do everything well, but which one do you have more fun? Basketball, football, or a little bit of both?
It really is both, Paul. And some people say, you got to have one. I really don't. I mean, I absolutely love calling them both. And, for me, just the excitement of being able to do play-by-play for 2 of the professional sports leagues, it's a dream come true. And because they're so different, you've got NBA, which is an indoor sport, fast-moving, incredible athletes, and then you get this, Roman gladiator type game with the NFL, where you're outdoor and you have the elements and these incredibly large, physical, freakish specimens doing what they do, and a chance to broadcast that and bring it to the fans. I played sports all through high school, love sports, and there is nothing better, gets the hair on the back of my neck to stand up and gives me goosebumps every time I get to call a game.
I gotta go ahead, sorry. I gotta jump out here. I'm sorry. I gotta go do that reverse daddy duty. But I gotta ask you, you're around a lot of legends. You're around Al McCoy, a living legend, and then that guy, Eddie Johnson, who thinks he's a legend. What is it like being
Just ask him, he'll tell you.
And Kevin, to piggyback off of that, obviously the NBA's made concessions with the bubble and everything. You and Eddie and Al and Tim have had to make concessions as well as far as your broadcasting goes. You're broadcasting pretty much right across the street from the arena. What's that been like with your social distancing? We saw on your social media posts, you and Eddie are in the room. You've got your social distancing wall. You've got your monitors and headsets. What's that been like broadcasting these first 2 games?
It has presented a unique set of challenges and obstacles. We've had to adapt, just like a lot of folks have had to adapt working from home, being on a Zoom call for 9 or 10 hours out of the day. I would have never in my lifetime imagined I would be doing an NBA game in this kind of environment that we're doing it in, doing it basically from a large computer screen like I've got right now. I mean, I'm calling the game essentially off of the same TV that you guys are watching from at home. So it has added, a few twists and wrinkles, and we've tried to, do the best that we can under the circumstances. Hopefully folks at home have been entertained and haven't seen too much of a change from it. But, I try to look at it, Ed, like hopefully it'll make me a better broadcaster when we get back in the arena and be live. But it is different for sure.
Evan, it was good seeing you, my friend. We have to catch up soon.
All right, Paul. Good to see you, my man. Take care.
All right. See you later.
All right, PLR.
Thank you.
All right, Joe. See you later. Ed.
Bye.
Gotta love a man that takes care of responsibilities, K-Ray.
There you go. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, we all can.
Great guy. And going into some more football, Kevin. So we have college football that's also just around the corner. And it's come to decisions. Pac-12, they're doing 10-game conference-only games. We have ACC 11-game schedule, 10 conference, 1 non-conference. SEC 10-game conference only. Big 12 just announced today they're doing a 9-conference and 1 non-conference. Amidst all of this, and then they're going to be facing, some of the travel challenges on some of these teams. And on top of that, also with Pac-12, we have the players have come out and with the letter. They came out on the Players Tribune and demands, or they will, meet their demands, or they're going to opt out. And this is what they're asking for. Safety precautions. They're asking medical insurance for 6 years after eligibility ends, permanent civic engagement task force to address social injustice issues, league to distribute 50% of each total sports, total conference revenue among the athletes. So my question here is this something that the players, college players, can see that they're going to get some feedback on and possibly Pac-12 respond to in a positive way? And also we have these, they're young, they're college athletes. This is something that we haven't really seen in the past. They've attempted to stand up in the past, and they're not heard, and they just get shut down most of the time. This is now in a time where a lot of these athletes, and they're just standing up, and they're like, they want their voices be heard. And especially in a precedented time that we're in with the social justice and equality. And is this something that we see a change in the future, not only in this aspect, but in many other aspects in sports for college?
Oh, absolutely. We started to see some of the movement last year with, for example, I believe it was the state of California that came out first and essentially said that student athletes, would have the right to earn money from their likeness. So if their jerseys were sold or pictures, any type of memorabilia that was sold through the university, that player would receive a percentage of that. So that was kind of the first crack in the ice, so to speak. And now we fast forward, and you've got a whole different, list of situations and problems that these young student athletes are faced with. And I absolutely think it is real, and I think it is just the tip of the iceberg that we're seeing here with these student athletes. And I think they're absolutely correct on a couple of these things, and I do think that they will be successful in getting a few of these demands met, especially the health insurance. That to me is first and foremost, because you've got a percentage of these athletes that will go on and play professionally, but others, once their college career is done, might be a year, might be 2 more years. Well, if they were to contract the virus, some of the early reports have suggested that some of these patients, and I'm not going to throw out some percentage, but some of them could look to experience, the effects of it, lingering effects for the rest of their life potentially. And so if you're a Napoli